In what way specifically has John Terry, being in the same position as you over the last year, has he developed your game in any way with any advice or really how has he helped you?
Yeah, he's developed my game for sure. I've been fortunate, like I previously mentioned, to work with some really good coaches over the years. Mick McCarthy, Eddie Howe, Dean Smith. John Terry is just another great example of somebody that I can learn from, who has been there and achieved everything that I would want to achieve in the game. So to learn from him and kind of take little pieces of advice from him is something that I feel really fortunate to be able to do. We do a lot of work, like I've previously mentioned, on clips and reviewing my performances. So yeah, I feel like I'm in a really good place and I have a really good mentor to learn from.
Is there any advice in particular that kind of sticks with you?
He tries to tell me to go through a game without being seen or without being mentioned. He says that's a good reflection of a centre-back's performance, is if they come off the pitch and nobody really knows what they've done and they've quietly gone about their business. So that's something that I'm trying to do more.
You spoke about end goal earlier, and the importance of focusing on that end goal. What is your vision of the end goal for England, and what's your vision of the end goal for Aston Villa in the long term? What's the potential of these two clubs and club and country?
Well, I think the country has to be being recognised as the best team in the world. There's a little bit of way to go until that happens, but I think the structure and the culture around the England setup, from what I've seen so far, is one that can really carry us very far. Aston Villa, I mean, we're back in the Premier League and we're fairly new to it, so our goals have to be realistic. But at the same time, we're an ambitious club with an ambitious manager and ambitious owners. So we want to go as far as we can go. At the moment, we don't know what that end goal is. So we have to kind of shorten that and go into each game thinking, how can we win this game? And until we're a bit more of an established Premier League team and maybe reset our goals and go for something further, I think we have to be realistic in our goals at the moment, and that is to try and win every game and see where we end up at the end of the season.
You talked about studying clips. Which clips of John Terry did you actually watch? Have you watched any at all?
No, sorry. So after a game, we'll watch clips of my game back.
Okay.
And he'll then tell me what he likes and what he doesn't like.
And is there more of the former rather than the latter?
At the moment, there is. But I mean, he's worked under such great managers, and he's obviously got all the experience that I would love to have. So things that he tells me really stick, and we then try and implement that on the training pitch and work through different things. So yeah, he gives me a little bit of criticism, but at the moment it's a lot of positivity.
You made reference to a number of the England players earlier and a number of subjects that they're very vocal on. Is now more than ever, in a wider context, is it more important to have leaders from lots of different demographics in the England team, given the issues that are facing young people today?
Yeah, absolutely. We have a very diverse squad here, and I think we have players here that everybody in different walks of life can relate to. So I do think that is important. Like you said, at the moment, there's a lot of things going on in terms of racism and discrimination in different forms. So to be able to look at the England squad and see such a diverse group can only be positive.
Tyrone, you mentioned just a minute ago that the end goal for this England squad and this team should be to be ranked number one in the world. Since you've been here, it's something that Gareth has spoken about as well in the past. Since you've been here, have you got the impression, or has that been drummed into you? And that in terms of that is the goal, because that is a high bar to set, given where England were 2 years ago.
Mm-hmm. I mean, it's not drummed into us. It's kind of it's a collective culture, like I previously mentioned, that the manager is trying to put in place here. And everybody is working in the same direction. So I don't think it needs to be necessarily drummed into you. It's just a goal that everybody needs to be working on the same page and pulling in the same direction. So that's something that if you come into this squad, you have to be a part of, whether as a staff member or a player. So that's what we want to work towards. And that has to be the goal.
And did you Gareth obviously said that he was impressed by your performances last season in the Championship. Did you know? Did you know he was you were on the radar then? Did he speak to you?
No. I'm not sure. Well, I must have been on the radar, but I'm not sure I even paid any attention to whether the national team manager would be interested in what I was doing. I was at a time in my career where I just needed to play football, and I was really enjoying playing football. And that probably coincided with me playing some of the best football of my career. I felt free to express myself, and a little bit like going to Millfield, really. I felt away from the public eye. It was only whilst we started, when we started breaking records and getting towards the playoffs, is when the real media attention came back onto Aston Villa. So I could kind of go there and really enjoy myself and get back into a rhythm of playing football and enjoying my football and working with fantastic coaches that believed in me and working with a team that ultimately were a little bit stuck at the time. Our results weren't great. Even when I went there, they weren't that great. But then something changed, and the manager should probably take full credit for that, for creating such a winning culture and mentality there as well.
Okay, last couple of questions. We'll go Nick Collins and finish with Matt Nash.
Tyrone, hello.
Hello.
Given that England are in a really strong position in this group, is this a good time to be coming into the side in terms of there's not too much pressure, you're clear at the top of the group with a very healthy goal difference. Is it easier in a sense to be coming in at this stage?
I mean, I would have come in at any stage. You could have asked me to come in. But I don't know whether it's easier. I don't know if there's ever an easy time to come into the squad or easier time. The manager wants a winning mentality, and the manager wants us to show humility, and the manager wants us to really persevere at any cost to get a win and to really drive that winning mentality. So I don't think there will be a let-up. So I'm not sure that there will be a easier or worse time to come into the squad, really.
And now that you're back in the Premier League, is there anybody that's particularly caught your eye? I mean, whether they're within this England squad or not?
Not really. I mean, I've just been trying to figure out the league in terms of Aston Villa, and trying to work on our strengths and weaknesses and where we can improve. But I should give a special mention, I think, to Mason. I think what a great start he's had to adapting to life in the Premier League as well. And he's a lot younger than me. I think if you see what he's done in his performances, he's obviously a fantastic player.
Hi, Tyrone. Do you speak much to the guys you played with in non-league still? Have any of them been in touch since the call-up? And was that an important time for you? Because you could have probably dropped out of the game completely when you were playing Chippenham and for Yate.
Yeah, I mean, I bumped into my old Yate captain in the corridor when I just came out of the gym yesterday, which was a little bit strange and perhaps a little bit fitting. But yeah, since I found out and since it was announced that I got called up, I think I've heard from everybody that I've ever come into contact with in football, which is obviously nice, really nice actually, because everybody has played their own part of my development and has a story to tell on my journey. So I do speak to a few people in non-league. There's a few people in Bristol, where my academy is based, that I've bumped into that I used to play with at Yate. And obviously Chippenham, I was back there a couple of weeks ago watching. So I do keep in touch, yeah.
Okay, everybody, thank you very much.